So I want to show you a couple cool simulators on Desmos, how you can use them to help you with the x-intercepts, the y-intercepts, the slope formula, things like that. So I've got two that I want to show you. The first one is this line and slope intercept form. If you notice, you can adjust the m and the c. M represents the slope of the line, c represents the y-intercept. The y-intercept's where it crosses this y-axis, this vertical axis. And slope is the steepness of the line. So the rise, the distance and the change between the y's over the run, which is the distance between the x's. So that's how you calculate slope. And you can see how it changes when it becomes negative, when it becomes positive, what happens to the line. You can see when the y-intercept changes, when it's negative, when it's positive, exactly where it goes and what it does to the line. And you can see in this equation, which is the slope-intercept form equation, you can easily see the slope and the y-intercept. So you can mess with this when you're working with graphs just to see what your graph should look like when it is graphed, and you can see what happens when those things change. So all you need to do is just slide the sliders, and you can see the slope is changing, and you can also see how it changes the line. So notice when I have a slope of 0, it is a horizontal line. That means there's, a steepness of 0. It's flat ground. And then when you increase the slope in a positive direction, it gets steeper and steeper. So as the slope increases, the line gets steeper and steeper, almost a vertical line. When it is actually a vertical line, we call that an undefined line. When you go in the negative direction, you'll notice that the line flips the other way now. So when you look at it from left to right, so as the x's increase, the y's are actually decreasing. So negative slopes look like this, whereas positive slopes are the mirror reflection. When you change the y-intercept, so this c value, you can see when it becomes a positive value, it's just the line is moving up that y-axis. And when you start going negative, it's moving down the y-axis. So when I'm right at, let's say, -3, you can see it crosses through the y-axis at exactly the point -3. So this is a really cool simulator you can mess with. You can check examples and work with just to see, are you drawing or are you writing the correct equations that match your graph? The other simulator, this is just where you have 2 points on a line and you can move or adjust these 2 points, and it shows you how the line moves and adjusts as well. So like I said, when you have a line that is vertical like this, you'll have an undefined slope. But anywhere else, you'll notice that the line then just moves places. You can also move this point anywhere you want, and you'll see how that line kind of changes. The cool thing about this, when you click on this button, you can see all the different things. So you can see the x, y, 1 point. So that's this red point here is your x1, y1 point. So 1 point on the line, and you can see what the x value and what the y value of that point is. You can also see here's your second point, your blue point, and you can see what the x value and y value are of that blue point. And when you change that, you'll see how it changes on the screen. You can also adjust it with these sliders to just see how that point is changing. The last thing I want to point out that's really cool is it shows you, here's the formula, and it's showing you that y1 is right now, it's the point that's on the y-intercept, the y-axis. And then the slope is calculated by the slope formula, where you subtract the difference of the y values of the 2 points and you subtract the difference of the x value of the 2 points, and you end up with a fraction which they've written as a decimal. So you can just convert fractions to decimal by dividing the numerator by the denominator, and that's how you get a decimal value. So you can see when you adjust these points, you can see, when the points are on the same y coordinate, you have a slope of 0, like I said before with that vertical line. You can see when the points are on the same x value. So when you would have a vertical line, you can see that the slope then is undefined. And then you can just see, okay, well, what is y2 at this point? You can scroll up here and you can see the y2 value here is 3, and you can see, what's my y1 value? Well, your y1 value, if you scroll up here, you see y1 is equal to 2. So you can kind of see how each of these numbers and each of these points is put into this formula to create the slope. So really cool, really interesting, really great thing just to check your work, just to see, if I change the points, what happens to the slope and what does it look like with the formula, and how do I get the answer to the slope formula. So try that out on your own, see how it goes.